That's the sound of the coffee pouring. Welcome to the Doctor's Brew. I'm your host, Dr. Abdulaziz Al Khayyat, and having coffee with us today is Dr. Hisham Abueljebain. Welcome, Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Abdulaziz. I'm very happy to have me here with you in the studio.
We're very honored to have you. So today we will be returning to the area of medicine that I know, and I have to say most other medical doctors know nothing about, and that is dentistry. I mean, my worst fear is on an exam if they ask me anything about a tooth, a single tooth. So today we will be chatting about studying dentistry abroad, the specialty of oral surgery / implantology, and being a partner at a dental center here in Kuwait. And we're very, very honored to have Dr. Abueljebain with us to share his experience. He went to dental school at Marquette University in Wisconsin in the United States. Is that correct?
Correct.
And he specialized in oral surgery and implantology in Austria. So
Correct.
Moving all over the world.
Yes.
And currently he's also a partner and practicing at Eldana Dental Center, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So, before we dive into things, I asked Dr. Amna Al-Mtawwa, who was the first dentist to come on the show, if a dentist's greatest enemy is coffee because of all the stains. Would you say it's your enemy in your practice or no?
No, actually, there are so many things that cause staining beside coffee. Food, you have za'afran, cigarettes. But it is one of the major enemies of our profession.
Does milk help reduce the amount of staining or no?
It might, yes. Yes, it would. It would. Anything just not take it black, pure black. You know, it's.
Well, that was the only excuse I needed. I can have my coffee now.
There you go.
Yes. So we're having a quick talk about our coffee today. We're going back to our roots, something quick, something easy to have and quality every time, which is an espresso coffee. That's usually what I go for here in the office sometimes when I need something on the run. And I'm very happy to report that Dr. Hisham was actually saying quite good coffee earlier.
Yes, I liked it. It's good coffee.
Yeah, and it's great to be caffeinated after futur.
Exactly.
Great. Okay, so let's dive right in here. I want to know first just about you, about your journey. Can you please tell us, tell our viewers about your journey into dentistry? How did you decide to go in?
Okay. Since when I was a child, my mother always was my mentor and was my guide to medicine in general. Whenever we had a talk, she would always, one day you will become a doctor, inshallah. Whenever my father brought in some chicken, they're freshly cut chicken, or we slaughtered a lamb in the Eid, I would go in and help in the kitchen to cut and slice and dissect the chicken.
Right.
Slice it in 4 as she requests my mother. I would help her in doing that. So I'd always look at the food where it helped me into moving into that field of thinking about how the body works, how those muscles are attached. Since I was a child, I also liked animals. I gave birth to some cats. I helped a cat give birth to 5-6 kittens.
Really?
So I was always in that field. I dissected snails or whatever. You go through these things when you're a child, and it pushes you towards the field that you wish.
Yes.
Although I wasn't that open and that talkative or talking too much, I was so much quiet. The bookworm. I always studied. I didn't play around. I didn't go out and play with my friends. I was always studying in my house, in the room, but it somehow intrigued in me more the love for human science and the love for medicine in general. I was caring. I cared a lot. I liked to help the others. So until I graduated in 1986 from Abdullah Salim High School, Kuwait Airways. I wanted to become a pilot. I applied for Kuwait Airways. I got accepted. I took the exam, first exam, second interview, until the Ministry of Higher Education announced that Ministry of Education itself actually announced that for the first time a scholarship to the United States, to Georgetown University Dental School for those interested. So I immediately shifted. I applied for that. I got accepted. I went to apologize for Kuwait Airways. I'm not going to become a pilot. So I went to Georgetown. We did this 1 year of English as a foreign language there, and we were supposed to go to Georgetown Dental School, but they phased out until Mr. Firas, at that time at my counselor at the embassy of Kuwait in the cultural division, he called me. He told me, you have a choice. You want to go to Marquette Dental School in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or you want to go with the other group of your friends. They have to spend 1 more year of English, and then after that year they will go to dentistry. I told them, well, I finished my 1 year of English. I had an English, alhamdulillah, I took my TOEFL test of English from Kuwait.
Oh, okay, so you were ready.
I was ready before going to the States, but that 1 year was compulsory to stay at Georgetown to take the English course.
Right.
So at that time, I took the course and I finished it in 1 year in the EFL, English Foreign Language course. At Georgetown. Then I went to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Marquette Dental School, where I did at Marquette University the pre-dentistry. I was signed in biology for it's a 3-year pre-dental program where you finish the 3rd year and then your 1st year will become like your 4th year in the bachelor program.
Oh, okay.
So
it was
they
an
combined.
integrated.
It's a
okay.
combined
Yeah.
program they did. So I took the 3 years after that of pre-dentistry, and then in 1990 I started dentistry at Marquette Dental School.
Right. Okay.
It was a big journey because as I was accepted at dental in the 1990, I told my parents I'm coming to Kuwait to spend 1, 2, 3 months with you in Kuwait just to stay and relax and meet my friends and unfortunately Saddam Hussein decided to invade Kuwait. La hawla wala. I was shocked and I was trapped for 28 days.
In Kuwait or in the States?
In Kuwait. I sent a letter to my university through Jordan to Marquette, telling them that I might be late. Please hold my seat for next year. Coincidentally, one of my cousins told me, let's try and take you out. We're going to leave Kuwait. I hid my passport. Nobody was asking about passports at that time. And so I went with my cousin through Iraq. We passed the Jordanian borders until we reached in Jordan. My parents were ready for me because we had asked the Kuwaiti embassy at that time whether my scholarship was still running.
Yeah.
They told me yes, it is still.
Oh,
if you can make it.
Really?
As soon as I arrived, the next day I was on the airplane heading towards Marquette. I arrived after 2 days from leaving Kuwait. I wasn't expected that I'm going to be in Marquette at that time. So I entered the university. They all were surprised. They came up and hugged me, and they were worried about me because they heard all the news that I was trapped in Kuwait. Until after 3-4 days, the under dean to the dental school came to the class. He called me up. I thought they're gonna expel me.
After all this, if they expel you, that's not no way.
After it was actually after 1 week, he called me up, come up on the stage, and he told me, "We welcome you to Marquette. You've been through a lot. What happened with you? I would like to congratulate you. You have arrived before your letter.
Oh, really?
We just received your letter.
Wow.
Where you have made it before the letter which you sent, trying to tell us that you're gonna you will try to make it out if it's possible." Everything what the letter was written.
Wow.
Yes, it was.
This is the story of perseverance.
It was a very nice story. I always talk about it to people I meet. But alhamdulillah, Allah was helping me all the time, wallahi, with that issue. And alhamdulillah, I made it. They assigned me even to a counselor to relieve the stresses that I went through.
That's amazing.
Yes, for 1 month I was going to that counselor once a week, just to let me relax and know how to focus on my studies, and because they were only they have started 1 week from dental school, but alhamdulillah I made it. And
did it help you going to the counselor?
Well, it was a help. It was a big help. Yes. He was trying to let me more focus on my studies. If there are any things that I've gone through during the war, I told him, no, I'm fine. Alhamdulillah, we were safe. Nobody was hurt from our family, and alhamdulillah, I managed to escape and come to attend the dental school.
This is amazing.
Yes, alhamdulillah.
And we're complaining about exams. A war, kind of putting us to shame here, Doctor.
Yes. The big stress was from the colleagues in the university,
really?
Whom some of their parents and relatives had to go to serve in Kuwait as soldiers with the American troops, and I am in front of them. Right. Why aren't you there? Why should my father go? Why?
Wow.
That was a big stress. So I was telling the counselor, and he was helping me how to cope with such things. Yeah. And he was telling me, just tell them, yes, it's paid for. We've paid for you to go and help us. Wow. He was telling me just how to try and face such pressure. You know what I mean?
Would you say this was the response from most people with you, or
well,
some?
No, some, some, and they were understanding, not all, but it was at that time. I'm my first year in dental school, and I'm bombarded with such situations.
Yes, of course.
Why are you here? My parent went there. Why, why aren't you defending your country? Why aren't you working there? I told them this is part of our defending our country, as continuing my education, so I can come back and rebuild our country for that. Yeah. So many things.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the 3 years of pre-dentistry. Why did I choose Marquette? My other fellow colleagues who were with me on the same scholarship, we were 4 at that time. They went to Villanova. I chose Marquette. It was in a northern state, midwestern state, close to the Canadian border. Snow almost all the year. The summer was only 3 months.
So you wanted that?
I wanted that.
No, I cannot relate.
For one reason, I said to myself, if I'm gonna study, if I'm gonna finish an 8-year program, 3 years pre-dentistry and 4 years of dentistry, I wanted something to keep me in the house, to keep me studying. No matter what happens, snowstorms, rain season, blockades, from the storms, I'm gonna just sit and study the books, and read the books. And that, alhamdulillah, what helped me, alhamdulillah.
Really?
At the same time, I told the Americans, he said, why did you choose our state? Why did you choose our Marquette?
Yeah.
I told them, well, for one thing, I lived 2 cultural shocks. One, moving from Kuwait to the United States when I first moved to Washington, D.C.
Right.
The other cultural shock I had when I moved from Washington, D.C. to Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
The dairy land.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Farm, mostly farms and dairy products, so I loved, if I remember, I told you earlier that I like the farming and I like cats and the animals. And so I always had so many activities I said to myself, if I want to survive, I don't want this homesickness or cultural shock to cause any effect
Yes.
on me
Yes.
to lose my studies.
Yes.
So I developed so many hobbies. I learned how to cross-country ski. I know skiing. I know downhill skiing.
Right.
We did fishing in shanties in the ice.
A bit different to fishing here in Kuwait.
Very
A bit different.
20 degrees minus zero,
Wow.
below zero, and you're sitting in that small cabin, and you dig a hole in and the car is parked on the lake. You are afraid. I always was afraid of stepping on the ice.
Going down.
But he's telling me your car is standing on the ice, so don't worry. So you develop so many hobbies,
to combat that homesickness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I developed my hobby of photography. I was the secretary of the biking club. I was biking a lot. I took my backpack, I put my camera, and we went biking as a club. We have that club in the university. And then I joined the entrepreneur club in the university. I was the secretary of the entrepreneur club and then the vice president of the entrepreneur club at Marquette Dental School. Until I became the president of the Muslim Student Association. Alhamdulillah, we had the university. Marquette Dental School is a Catholic school. Marquette University in general. So they provided us a room which is around the size of your studio. And they provided us, this was our praying room.
Right.
So Muslims at that time, they even helped us furnish it with a carpet and a separate, to separate the females want to pray and the males, which was very nice step from them. To the instance that they even, I asked them that during Eid, I want to be excused from any exam if I have any exam. Because I have Eid, I want to celebrate. So they gave us Muslims on that day as a holiday of Eid. You are excused from any exam. You can switch it or... So that was very helpful.
That's very nice of that. It's nice to see when even different cultures, different religions coming together and helping each other and being understanding of each other.
Not only that, but when I was at that Muslim Association, MSA, Muslim Student Association, I joined every year. I would dress my own national dress, the Dijdasha and Ghutra wal Rigal. And I would, during the International Day, I would demonstrate. I would go out and show them our dresses. Until I started putting some tables talking about our culture, about Kuwait, our tribal tents, camels, and so forth. We showed them about Islam. We talked to them about, we showed them how to write their name in Arabic with markers. Until the last year, I was doing those tables every year with the International Day at the university. Until just 1 year before my graduation in 1994 from Marquette, I joined the International Day, and I told them I'm going to have a big surprise. In 1993, one of the students from Saudi Arabia, Dr. Samer Al-Jutayli, he was doing master's degree in dentistry in the same university. I told him I need to borrow. He had brought from Saudi his computer, his IBM computer, with his monitor and the printer. I told him I want to borrow your computer. He said, what do you need it for? I told him I have a big surprise. I'm going to show those students that this year we're not going to use the marker to write their name.
You're going to type it.
We're going to type it with Microsoft software. And it was a big hit.
Right, really?
On that year, I had the biggest table, and I had so many beautiful things. And I started typing with Microsoft the names in Arabic. And so as soon as I printed for the students, wow, in Microsoft you have Arabic? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a big surprise to them. They loved it. And I was conveying our culture to them.
That's amazing.
Our Islam. They had so many pamphlets to show them about Islam, what it is, and our Quran and our culture in Kuwait. الدلة والقهوة مالتنا. يعني how do we serve it? How do we? You have to shake the cup when you finish, when you're done, and so many things, you know. So on that year, the university awarded me the Student Leadership Award, alhamdulillah, where they have given me. I will show you some pictures. That picture and that certificate.
So, these are the awards.
Yeah, this is the award. This is the certificate, the award that I was awarded, and it was in a big ceremony. And I dressed for them with the bisht. I even put on the bisht for them. It was a full.
Is that you in the bisht?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I give you.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's me in the bisht with the dean of the dental school, and his vice president. I'm serious.
You brought Kuwait to Wisconsin.
Exactly.
And this was in the 80s, you said?
This was in 1993.
93.
Yes, here.
Right.
It's written here. Look,
I wasn't even born then.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's here, 92, 93. Yeah. So it was amazing. A whole university will recognize you and will award you the Student Leadership Award.
Yes.
Even my name was put with the list of names in the university who were awarded that award. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. That's nice to see that over, in spreading our culture to the States and to Wisconsin, that they recognize it and they liked it, they encouraged it, they were happy about it.
Alhamdulillah. That's why I told you I didn't want to imitate their culture. I wanted to preserve my own culture. At the same time, learn more about myself. I learned more about my culture, about my Islam, about my language. I was trying to learn even Arabic language there. I was trying to learn calligraphy in the States, as a hobby, as things that to keep you away from wasting your time with so many bad things that might waste your time, might waste your energy, and lose your health.
Right. Yeah. And risk your future.
You try to stay away from any social effects that would lose your own beliefs, your own personality.
بس بشكل عام, in a general sense, how did you find the U.S. experience for studying dentistry? Was it generally a positive one, or you made it a positive one?
Both.
Okay.
It was both. In a general, it was a readily strong atmosphere to learn the dentistry,
right.
And at the same time, it was my steps and my organized targets and aims and a personal target that I put for myself.
And so what would you advise for, we have a lot of dental students also listening.
Yes.
And prospective, sometimes there's even high schoolers, they're considering dentistry.
Yes.
What would you tell them if they're about to embark on a journey to go study in the U.S. Dentistry? What would you tell them?
I would tell them, try as much as you can to put a daily program for yourself.
Okay.
A monthly program, a yearly program, or targets. Write down your future aims and what you would like to achieve in your life. Try to learn some hobbies. Try to organize yourself, organize your time. Try to interact with your own culture, friends and people that you would relate to. Try to, as much as you can, to know that you are there for a purpose, is to get that degree and go back home. When I was accepted at the scholarship in the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Education in 1986, some people were 8 years. You're going to stay in the state for 8 years?
Yeah, a long time.
Isn't that long time? I told them, but inshallah it will pass. I will try and manage it, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, I managed to graduate in 1994, when I got my degree, I looked at that day on those people who were telling me on the things that I was hearing from them. I said, the 8 years have passed. It really seemed like a blink of an eye.
Wow. And they not only passed, you enjoyed them,
and
obviously.
I enjoyed them.
Yes.
During my graduation ceremony, I invited of course, my parents came over to Kuwait, and my brothers, my sisters. I invited around 30 guests to attend my graduation ceremony.
They gave you that many tickets?
The university, to the degree, when I came out with my parents, and my father wore the dishdasha and the bisht.
Wow.
With the black bisht and the gold.
So he must have stood out amongst all the parents that were there.
They saw the university at that time. Of course, there was some reporters from the newspaper, local newspaper, the Milwaukee Sentinel. On that day, the university told the reporters that this is a sheikh that is graduating from with his tribe that came. And they wrote here, you can read it. Sorry, read that part.
So, the 30 people who came to watch foreign student Hisham Abueljebain receive his degree in dentistry also were proud. They included Abueljebain's parents who journeyed for the ceremony from his native Kuwait, other relatives who came from Jordan, and still others from Atlanta. They erupted into wild cheering and whistles as Abueljebain walked into the room, third behind the standard bearer, beaming and waving to his family in acknowledgement of their exuberance.
You can see my picture. I'm the third on the bottom left corner.
There.
The bottom left.
Wait.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, this one. Next. Yes, this one. Yeah. So this was in the Milwaukee.
This must have been foreign to them. The idea that someone from Kuwait is coming to study dentistry.
Yes.
This was huge.
Yes.
And you paved the way then for all the Kuwaitis now who've gone.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
As soon as I graduated, I brought this degree. Sorry. As soon as I graduated, the Ministry of Education contacted me. They told me, we have a batch going to the States.
Right.
Can you meet with them to show them your degree?
Right.
I told them with pleasure. I took my degree and I showed it to them that it is possible. It is an achievement that you can do. Just work on it, dwell on it, enjoy it, learn about yourself. I learned about yourself, how I lived when I lived on my own for 1 year. The first year I lived when I went to as a test of English as a foreign language, I lived that 1 year away from my parents for the first time in my life. I lost more than 15 kilos. When I came back, wallahi, Dr. Abdulaziz, I came back from that same Kuwait airport where you go out with the bags and you either go left or right.
Yeah.
My parents and my cousins, my brothers were standing in the middle.
Yeah.
As soon as the doors opened, I came out, I saw them. I started waving, I started waving for them. Just, hi, I'm here. But nobody was looking at me. I went to the right side, exit, and I was saying, I thought someone has died. They didn't even pay attention that...
They didn't recognize you.
It's me, I'm Hisham, I'm in front of you, what's happening? Wow. I was really worried. I went, I took my bags, and I went past the people. I told the people to move away until I reached to my parents who were standing on the first row.
Yeah.
And they were shocked. What? I told them, I'm waving for you. What? They told you, what happened to you? You changed.
And so I'm assuming you lost the 15 kilos, but when you came back like that, because that happens to me the second I came back to Kuwait now.
Yes.
This year, oh my.
Yes,
the weight was like that coming back.
So this was my journey.
What an amazing journey. And you were the first mubta'ath from Kuwait
exactly.
to the US.
The first mubta'ath from...
So you're the first person to have DDS
exactly.
in Kuwait.
In Kuwait, as a mubta'ath from Kuwait.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Alhamdulillah. So in 1994, I graduated. And I came back. I stayed until I stayed in the Ministry of Health until 2006.
2006.
And in 2006, okay, just one thing I told you, I forgot to mention.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I learned in the States is how to organize yourself, how to put plans, how to plan your life, how to plan your targets, your aims, what you want in life.
Right.
So before leaving, coming back, I wrote as a planner for me after I graduated. Now that I graduated, I checked that finished, graduated, checked. Okay?
Right.
So I started writing my plans in Kuwait.
Right.
I said, okay, 1994, let's see. So I would like to work because I learned that I have to pay back the ministry at least 6 years.
Right.
5 to 6 years to pay back because I got the scholarship.
Yep.
I said, okay, 1994, 6 years, that will be around 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
I said, okay, around that, if I'm done with paying my dues to the ministry, I will try and go to a private clinic or open my own private clinic. Why? Because at that time, I had so many because you mentioned here what things have changed from the state to Kuwait.
Yeah, yeah. Like coming back, what was it like? Kind of. Everybody has culture shock.
Exactly.
I remember there's this one senior that was with me in Amiri Hospital when I first came. He would laugh because he'll just look at me and be like, "Hi, Aziz, how are you?" And this was in the first 2 weeks, and I just look at him and be like, "Culture shock, Doctor, culture shock," and he'd laugh at me.
Yes, I understand.
So I'm just gonna.
Yes, that's okay. Right there. So this is now this is my culture.
Yeah.
Now I'm back to my culture, but at the same time, how can I develop it?
Yes.
How can I improve it?
Push forward.
How can I raise what I learned and teach others?
That's the whole point of going, is to bring the good things back. Yeah.
So the first thing, when I was employed in the Ministry of Health, they sectioned me. They gave me, okay, you work in Al-Umariya. Sorry, even not Umariya. Khitan.
Okay.
Okay. I said, okay, I'll work in Khitan. Most of them are workers, labor workers.
Yes.
Khitan al-Janubi. Okay. So I went into Khitan al-Janubi. I said, okay, I need files. He said, what? He said, I need files. I want some paper files.
Yeah.
I said, what do you need paper files? For my patients. I want to monitor each patient. At that time, Dr. Kamil Shahabuddin was the administrator in the Al-Idara, Ministry of Dental Section Management, Dr. Kamil Shahabuddin. I called him. I told him, please send me around 500 files tomorrow. He knew that I wanted to do some changes, but he didn't expect it in Khitan.
Out of all the places in Kuwait.
Okay, I'm going to send you some. He sent me around 200. He said, you begin with those 200, we'll see. I went and I met the in charge of the المستوصف. المدير المستوصف. والله نسيت عيال الخالدي كان وقتها أعتقد نسيت اسمه. الله يوجهه للخير. قلت له يا أبو محمد أبي دفتر مواعيد. قال لي دكتور.
Appointment log.
قال لي دكتور انت الحين ملفات ومشينا لك اياها تبي دفتر مواعيد بعد؟ قلت له والله ابي دفتر مواعيد. قال لي ليش؟ قلت له لاني انا اشتغل كوادرنت دنتستري.
رايت.
كوادرنت دنتستري السكرتيره خلاص انا ابي اتابع بخلاله وبسوي له بالبكتمي وبسوي له كذا. رايت. زين بتابع بحط له موعد عشان اكمل له الصوب الثاني، ما بيرجع لي بعد شهرين ثلاثه ويصطف لي هني بال20 50 واحد قاعدين. رايت. لا ابي دفتر مواعيد، احط له موعد بعد اسبوع اكمل له العلاج. You need to keep track of your patients. There needs to be organization. So the 200 files at that day, I opened files in Khitan al-Janubi. I started organizing it. I wrote appointments for them. Every morning I come 7
Revolutionary at the time.
Wallahi. So, but I was happy. Because I was implementing what I learned, okay? I was trying to not lose the touch which I learned in the States.
I think this is something we all struggle with. I know for myself, like, and my fellow, foreign out of Kuwait graduates, we do feel that coming back, there is an element of organization.
Yes.
Which is the status quo here, even though it's improving. Yes. I'm not trying to ما بينتقد أحد. It's improving.
Yes. It is.
But it is still, we're lacking. And it's something we miss, and it's something that it's inspiring you're telling me this, because it shows me that there is possibility that we can implement change, that we're not powerless.
Yes. So I continued, and when I finished my ministry time, in 2001, I submitted my resignation to the ministry, and I joined Al-Hikmah Dental Center, where Dr. Ibrahim Abueljebain, may Allah bless him, he was my mentor at that time, because he was the head of the dental department. He was the undersecretary to dentistry, the first undersecretary to dentistry in the ministry. We were all supporting him at that time. So he was our mentor. For me, I looked up upon him much. So I said, okay, I want to start my own, but I don't have budget for opening my own clinic. Let's join a dental center. So I went, I met with Dr. Ibrahim Abueljebain, and he approved me. I joined Al-Hikmah Dental Center. I worked in Fahahil for 6 years. And I told him, after 6 years, I'm going to open my own, if you don't mind. He said, you finish 6 years and we will talk. So during that 6 years, when I was at Al-Hikmah Dental Center, they knew me very well. I had, alhamdulillah, good rapport with my patients, good communication, and alhamdulillah, I submitted my treatments on a planned basis similar to what I learned in the States.
Did you get your appointment log?
Exactly. Okay, I will tell you about that one point when I opened my own dental center. So he told me, okay, you finished your 6 years. Are you ready to leave now? I told him, yes, I'm going to open Aldana Dental Center. And he told me, where are you going? I told him, nothing. I'm going to take a loan from a bank and open Aldana Dental Center. Dr. Ibrahim Abueljebain, I admire his experience in dentistry, because he had initially, with the group of 6 or 7 dentists, started Al Maidan. And it was a big successful clinic, as you all know. And at that time, he told me one sentence. He told me, اسمع يا وليدي, انت ما راح نهدك وانت ما راح تهدنا ان شاء الله. قلت له شلون? He told me, I'm gonna sponsor you. I'm gonna financially pay all the loan that you need from any bank. Don't order it from a bank. Take it from us, and what you want, your share, we will respect it. You keep your third, and we keep our 2/3 as we agreed. And alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, we opened Aldana Dental Center in 2007. When I opened Aldana Dental Center in 2007, with Al-Hikmah helping me, it was in my name as the major in charge, as a what do you call it? License. The license was in my name, and they were my partners in Aldana Dental Center. And mashallah, it grew gradually. We had so many things that went on during the first 3-4 years. Mentioning about the log, where when I left the States, we had I went into some clinics. I worked in some clinics in the States. It was paperless clinics,
Oh, all digital.
digital. And they taught
In the
us
States, what was it, the 90s?
in the 90s, 94.
90s were paperless.
Yes, they were telling me we are heading toward paperless.
Sorry, I'm laughing because most of our hospitals are still
Yes.
not paperless.
Yes, private. I'm talking private clinics.
Oh, okay. That makes it a bit better.
Okay. So when I learned this issue, only for insurance they would start making the paperwork,
Mm-hmm.
and the filing of the patients, they would have them, they would push a button, you would print out the printout.
Yeah.
You would let the patient sign the consent form and all the paperwork, scan it, keep it in the file.
Electronic record, yeah.
Exactly. So when I opened Aldana Dental Center, I told Dr. Ibrahim, Dr. Ibrahim, I'm hoping that you can bear with me because, excuse me, I'm going to purchase the Kodak R4, which is the dental software
Right, yeah.
that was running all over Britain,
Mm-hmm.
in England.
Mm-hmm.
The Kodak R4 was in Kuwait, and Aldana Dental Center was the first private clinic that
Used that system.
software.
Oh, okay.
And alhamdulillah, I started the paperless,
Mm-hmm.
and whenever the ministry came to check our clinic, they would tell me, where is the consent form of the patient? I would press the button, print it out,
And there it is.
and it is signed by the patient.
Right.
The treatment plan, tick, you print it out, here
Already there.
it's there.
Mm.
So everything was paperless. You would preserve paper, you would preserve green environment,
Yeah. And it's just more convenient.
and it's more convenient.
Much better,
Okay. So now, coming back to this time, when you wanted to preserve it from a financial point of view,
Mm-hmm.
The auditing and all the
Yeah.
paperwork that's required, they forced you to open files.
Mm.
So after 5-6 years, I had to bring some files.
Now, question: did you open Aldana before specializing or after specializing?
That's a good question. I opened Aldana before specializing. I was a
Before.
general dentist at that
Okay.
time,
Okay.
but because I had completed the time that is required as a general dentist to open a private clinic,
Right.
I was able to open a private clinic as a general dentist.
So why did you go for a specialty if you didn't have to?
That's a good question. In 2007, actually before that, I had the passion for surgery.
Mm.
At Marquette Dental School, I was the highest number of extractions of wisdom teeth.
Mm.
I loved surgery a lot. Even my doctors, our professors there at the university, they were all telling me, you come to oral surgery, you come back to oral surgery to join us when you graduate. So I told them this is something that I would love to do. And in 2007 and 2005, actually, there was a big program where it was teaching implants. I joined that program. During the years when I was in the ministry, I was, whoever I did extractions for, I told them, listen, we can put an implant. Come after 1 year and I will put an implant for you.
Mm-hmm.
I learned so many of the private companies in Kuwait, they were coming for tutorials and mini courses. In order to join that course, you bring them a patient, tell them put your implant system in,
Mm-hmm.
and they will, if they check if the ridge of the patient is well and good and is in good health, they would take in the patient for you. And as a dentist, they wanted me to know more about their implant system.
Mm-hmm.
So I would bring some patients and take it to this company, and they would demonstrate for the people, for the doctors who are joining the course, to place the implant. So I did so many courses like that.
Mm-hmm.
I brought some patients, and my friends or relatives.
So it was a big passion of yours.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Until 2007, joined the course at Krems University. It was in English. because it wasn't in German language, and although it is a European university, but still they had the course in English. And alhamdulillah, I graduated 2010, and I managed to get my oral surgery master's degree, which you have taken a picture of that, right?
Yeah. That's gonna be on our Instagram.
No need to step. It's a big.
It's like that big for our viewers, like that. Yes. Gonna cover my whole face.
So I think the producer took a picture. Yes.
Wow. So, because it's for me, this is interesting. It's a bit foreign. Dentists don't need to specialize. They can work as general dentists.
Well, they can.
Yeah.
They can, but. Of course, there are 7 or more than 7 specialties in dentistry: oral surgery, periodontology, endodontics, orthodontics. You have, there are those specialties differ in each passion of each dentist and what he loves more.
And clarify this for me. Maxillofacial surgeons.
Yes.
Do they need to go to both dental school and med school, or what's the?
In some programs, yes.
Okay.
In some universities, yes, they have to.
Yeah. Because there was someone in my class.
Yes.
In med school.
Yes.
Who was a dentist. He's
Yes.
working as a dentist, and he's in med school with us because he wants to do.
Yes.
Maxillofacial surgery.
Yes. They in some programs they force them. They have to do medicine. Beside dental.
So not everywhere.
Not everywhere.
And where would it be that?
I'm not sure where exactly, but some programs they don't have to be in medicine. They would stay longer time in the program itself.
Right.
To learn all about the medicine part. Yes.
Right. And now, so you've specialized because of your big passion with surgery.
Yes.
And for me, I pieced it together that you did your practice after specializing. That's amazing that you did it during.
Yes.
Very
I did
interesting.
it during. Yes.
Now I'm really fascinated on the fact that you are also working as a businessman because you have a practice.
Exactly.
And so you're a partner, and you were also I found out through our discussion today that you were the president of the Entrepreneurship Society, right?
Yes.
So do you think that going through dental school gave you the skills to be able to be a businessman?
Well, it's a good point. Beside dentistry, in order to join any private entity to open your own business, you would need a second degree in business, for example, in marketing, in whatever that might help you as a dentist in your business. Okay. So it somehow developed within me how to manage the business aspect. I was blessed, as I told you, with Al Hikmah and their partnership with Aldana. They are holding a big section for me to help me in the business aspect.
Right. Okay.
So
it's through your experience.
Exactly. So I can become as an oral surgeon. At the beginning, when I started Aldana, we had some problems. If you remember, I told you we had some challenges. I was trying as much as I can to help my employers to finish their iqama, to finish their social, the shu'un papers,
bureaucracy.
all of that. I was doing it myself.
Right. Okay.
Until 4 or 5 years, I told my partners, I told them, please, it's exhausting the time of me from Aldana and from my patients. Someone has to hold that for me.
Yeah.
So only 4 or 5 years ago, it became better, where they have held that section, that business aspect, and they relieved me from all the business aspect. And I focused on my surgery and my implants.
So what would you advise to prospective dentists right now, people that are graduating and they're thinking, okay, I want to move into private practice. what would you advise them from a business side of things and their future careers, how to go about things?
Okay. Try to study the market well. See if it is better for you to stay in the ministry more time, especially now, because now the Ministry of Health is opening so many dental clinics.
Really?
In the major hospitals, and they need dentists to in specialties to hold those chairs, to hold those positions. So if you are thinking of going into private at that time, especially at that time of the year of our time, what we are living now from the economy and the changes that's happening, it's really, my opinion is to wait 1 more or 2 more years.
Do you think that they need to study whole degrees to be able to go into private practice and own a private practice, or not necessarily?
Well, it would be better.
It would be better.
Yeah, it would be better to specialize in one aspect, even to complete your PhD if necessary.
Really?
Yes.
So specialization is important for private practice in Kuwait?
Yes.
Okay.
And when I finished my master's degree in Austria, now I told my wife and my children, I'm trying to look for a PhD program.
Wow.
Where, because I learned at Marquette Dental School, learning doesn't stop. Never stop learning. Wow. You always learn more. You always try to improve your status quo. Don't sit and just say, oh, okay, I'm going to just sit in that clinic, extract teeth, and put temporary fillings, and yalla ma'a salama. Try to dwell and treat the patients with your honesty, with your experience that you've learned in university. When I was doing the quadrant dentistry to the workers in Khitan al-Janubi, okay, I wouldn't extract one tooth. I would do the small caries of the other teeth quickly at the same time, and just to relieve him from that. The anesthesia is numbing all the quadrant of his mouth. Yeah. So I would use it just to benefit, and not to let him come for me after 1 year saying there is a problem, you know. So I advise doctors in their clinics who are sitting and listening now to us, and they are working in the ministry or in your clinics. Try to give your honest treatment to the patients. Be ethical, be honest, and give them your best treatment so they can mention you and love you and care for you and recommend you to others.
Thank you so much for those words.
Thank you.
I think this is a perfect place to conclude today's episode. I think it's an extremely important message to leave with everybody, to keep learning, and it's inspiring to see that you're still pushing, you're still learning. Sometimes I feel like we have it in our minds that after we're done, we get that degree, we're done. There's no exams, there's no learning, they're just living.
Learning never stops.
Learning never stops. Yes. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you.
That's the last sip of coffee for today. A last special thank you to our guest, the first dentist in Kuwait with DDS in his title, Dr. Hisham Abueljebain. It's been an honor to have you here, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Abdulaziz, and thank you for Dr. Brew for having me with you.
If you like what we talked about here today, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Hope you all enjoyed this episode of The Doctor's Brew. New episodes to listen to with a cup of coffee coming your way every Sunday on YouTube and Spotify. And be sure to follow us on Instagram for all the latest updates. See you next time.